Alright, shut up. Hello and welcome to the PunchCast, episode 6. As always, I'm your host, Evan, and with me this week is Jordan.
Hi.
And Kevin, for the rest of the world.
The rest of the world. I'm surprised Jordan didn't make a big deal about being introduced first.
I specifically introduced him first. I
figured you did, but he didn't make a peep.
I'm flattered, honestly.
He doesn't even care. He's just like, motherfucker, we're lumped inside.
Pretty much.
And Liam hiding in the back there somewhere.
Hola.
This is a very special episode. We're live in Madison Square Garden this week. Big crowd. We packed the place. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit chilly in here, but it's fine. It's fine. And the
AC's up a little too high.
And the crowd's super quiet. You can't hear them.
They're really courteous, yeah.
They're very, very...
It's like a tennis match in here.
Polite, yeah.
We also have the strawberries and cream from Wimbledon or whatever that is.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even care about tennis. It's unreal.
It's because it's a dumb sport. It's like someone took Pong and they made it worse.
In our country, loves tennis when, that tournament's on, and then every other a month of the year, they just really don't give a fuck. So, yeah, it is just an excuse to have strawberries and ice cream. Yeah, bang on there.
Is it really like do people make a big deal out of the Super Bowl of tennis?
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. It's like when we do the World Cup for football, it's like everyone just stops and watches the tennis. I mean, I don't, because I just don't really care. But most people do, yeah, for sure. I don't know why.
Interesting. Is there like rivalries? Do people wear like jerseys for their favorite tennis swingers?
It doesn't go that far. No, it's fine.
Damn it! I was hoping they'd get like real into it. Anyways, this is the show this week. There's some stuff going on, some pretty cool shit coming out, and then this is basically the last week of cool stuff. Everything is dead now since No Man's Sky is not coming out for another month.
Oh, when does Mass Effect come out? Or not Mass Effect? Jesus Christ! I keep doing this. Mirror's Edge.
Mass Effect's like not.
That's early next year.
No, that's real soon. That's only in a few days' time, right?
Isn't Mirror's Edge next week?
Isn't that the 21st?
I mean, why would we ever fact check?
John Murray.
John Murray,
because we should mention his name, obviously, because we always do in
every
an
week.
episode of PunchCast.
John Murray plug here.
He is streaming the game later tonight because he got it on early access through EA.
The EA access stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so it's only 2 days after it, I believe, that it's available.
Whatever the next Tuesday is.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be, I think, the 21st of this month, and then it got pushed back 2 weeks.
Initial release date, June 7th. So,
but anyway, with that is the only main game, like the only real big game that's out this month. Other than that, we just went through all of the games for the site to review, and it's real quiet.
There is shockingly quiet. Well, I mean, it's it's the beginning of summer, and it's like the same thing.
# summer drought.
Well, yeah, exactly. Which I'm super looking forward to because I still got those 3 GTA games. I want to play Witcher. I want to go back to Far Harbor. I just done reviewing that. I want to play Bully. There's all sorts of things I want to do that I haven't been able to because of this, that, or the other, but it's going to be nice to not have a ton of games come out.
This is great. This is games that I can just that I bought, played, maybe tried a little bit, but didn't get back around to. I love it. It's just time to catch up, and then just before E3, then we've got to do all that stuff, and it's just so yay for drought. It's cool.
Yeah, gives me the freedom to play Overwatch and Final Fantasy until I'm bleeding out of my ears.
So just do what you're currently doing, but just more of it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to check out We Happy Few, and that goes into early access this month.
It does look really interesting. Yeah, I'm excited to try that out as well.
That's pretty much it. Like, Mighty Number 9 looks like dog shit.
Oh,
and
God.
I was semi-excited for that for a while.
Can we talk about that trailer real quick? Because I know it came out, and I think it was either me or John or somebody posted it in the chat, and we were like,
I posted it.
Oh yeah, and it was like, oh well, that looks like shit. But I really want to get in like deep into the psyche of this game and just unravel why it looks like such dog shit, because it looks awful.
It felt like a midday like commercial on Nickelodeon in 2003 for like the newest Tyco RC powerboat or whatever the fuck it is. It's like exactly. Put it in the pool and hit your mother in the eye with it.
You would never have guessed in a million years that it's on the same kind of minds, the same creative brains as a Mega Man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
It could be. It could be the tone of the trailer that's off. I mean, obviously it's off. I mean, it's fucking way off. But it could just be a trailer that is awful. But with everything else that's gone on with the game as well, it's just kind of one more thing to add to the pile of, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. like it is, and I did a little bit of research, and somebody in a comment section somewhere likened it to another trailer for the Dead Island Retro Revenge, the little throwback arcade game that was featured with the recent release Dead Island collection, and they are super similar in tone. And they're both done by Deep Silver. The trailers are both made by the publisher. So I'm wondering if they weren't written by the same person, because they are both the exact same kind of awful.
You know, the way they address you like a child, like you're about 10.
Well, yeah, and it's very just this fucking just pedantic, like, hey, you like being badass, here's this game that's so badass, it's gonna let you be a badass. And it's just like, it's
Don't
very memey and
Fuck
very yeah, exactly. Like, man, I don't want also, I think the game kind of looks ass, like graphically. It looks very dull. There's a lot of grays, and the explosions, somebody pointed out, look like shitty Chuck E. Cheese pizza.
It's a cafeteria pizza.
Oh yeah, it's bad, and I'm just like, it makes me wonder aesthetically. Like, I think the design of the characters are fine or whatever, but it makes me wonder why they didn't go more cartoony with it. Like I look at, in particular, like the explosions of, I think two games that do it really good are Battleborn or Overwatch, which you look at them and they're these very like multi-frame, very animated explosions, and they fit within that world even though it's a 3D game. I'm wondering why they didn't do that here among... I have so many questions for the dev team. Just so many.
I was going to say, it's probably because of all those network connection issues. They just had to downgrade all the graphics. They just were like, we gotta make sure these network connections work real good. We don't have space for how the game used to look whenever.
It's one of those weird ones where, again, the story behind the game being made is much more interesting than the actual game that we'll be playing. Like, I want to wait for some studio guy to be completely burnt out, and he's left the studio and he's got a bone to grind or a tooth to grind, some metaphor, and then he'll kind of give like an interview or something about what exactly happened behind the scenes, because it's such a weird thing. And like, to the thing about the style of the game, the graphical style, like, it looked pretty good when it was on the Kickstarter video. If you see those early videos, completely different, like the tone aesthetically, and now it's, yeah, like you said, Jordan, very, very bland, for sure.
Yeah, because Jeremy and Nikhil and I think we all played it at E3 last year, and
that's right,
definitely, like, it looked really good, like, it ran really, like, back then when it was supposed to come out, that year? I mean, we were all pretty excited for it. But yeah, it looks like there have been some downgrades, and it just looks... If you look at the old footage, like, all the stuff happening was, like, way more dynamic, and that's, like, sure, it might not... If it's not, like, 1080p, 60 frames a second, that's fine, but, like, it just looks kind of flat, is like kind of the best way to describe kind of like the look and feel of it now, compared to like how dynamic like what we played and kind of what some of that early footage was like.
You know, when I saw the trailer, that wasn't just... Oh, fucking hell. Again.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I apologize for that.
Alright, we're ending the show, we're starting over.
Every episode that Jordan's on, I expect this to be a thing. What was it? Anyway, so when I saw the trailer, that wasn't just target footage, that was what it was actually like. And from what you're saying, Kev, it actually kind of ran really well, and it was fun to play. Whenever I see a trailer for it now, again, I just want to see it in motion before I make too many judgments, but not looking too impressive, really.
Yeah, I'm looking at I'm trying to find some footage of it right now, but the big thing that bothers me with this is Mighty Number 9 was infamously like the first of this wave of developers going back to an old IP and trying to kickstart a new version with the help of fans. I mean, we've seen Yooka-Laylee, we've seen Bloodstained, Shenmue 3, etc. come off of that, and I'm wondering... I don't think, or I pray that the other developers will not have this kind of just checkered development, but I'm wondering if, as a pacemaker, this is going to halt some people going forward, any excitement they might have for other Kickstarter projects. Like because this is the first one that's really coming to fruition in a big way.
Yeah, I of the ones you just mentioned, Jordan, it'd be Shenmue 3 that I'm really doubtful of, because unlike any of the other games, the scope is so much bigger. I mean, it's getting funding from a third parties. It isn't, obviously just Kickstarter, but already in a short amount of time that it's been a thing in the public consciousness, it's just sounded weird from the off. So yeah, it is one of those things where you just don't know until you see the finished product. Well, I don't know, yeah.
So maybe when that game comes out, just buy the Legacy Collection instead. It's probably better and cheap, and way more games in there.
Hi.
So that's not even out yet, but we talked about it anyways. There is a couple things that are out. By a couple, I think I mean one, because I don't think there's anything else. At least at this point, the final Witcher DLC has come out, Blood and Wine. It's cool and stuff. I haven't even played the first DLC, so I'm ill-equipped to speak on this topic.
Well, shame on you.
But some of us have played that.
I've worked so hard.
They had the other three.
So hard to get a chance to play it today, guys. My disc, a physical disc for A Witcher was scratched / broken / something. I just got all the updates ready for a launch for the expansion. I was good to go, and then it said it couldn't fucking start the game. So today, I had to walk into town, ask them to try and clean the disc in a fancy machine. I did that, took it back home, still didn't fucking work. Had to walk back into town.
When you say walk into town,
this is riveting.
I have
walk into town.
I know, but I have this image of you just living in like the Shire, and you walk 20 minutes down a country road, and you're in London.
It's about 20 minutes away, and I literally could not afford the bus journey there. So this is why it was so important. I was going to buy it off the store, because it's on sale now, and it's really quite cheap. I couldn't even afford that, so I had to go to this shop to kind of get it sorted. And so when I went back there, I had to lie to them, say that I bought it a few weeks ago, pre-owned, and then they gave me a PSN card. I went back home, had to get the game installed all over again, and so I've only played about 2 hours of it just before the start of the recording of this show. So I haven't got too much to offer myself either, but man, it's fucking great though. It's fucking great.
And on the way back, you stopped by the ice cream farm, first sponsor of the PunchCast.
It's all in the same area, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Just walk
right next
by,
to the tea and crumpet shop, right next to that.
Yeah.
No, they actually sling them out of food carts, pizza style,
Mm-hmm.
where they just fucking throw it, and you're like, all right, get out of here. And it has a little basket. You get a little cup of jam in case you want to put that on there.
Yeah, I love this image that you've got. Oh my god!
I mean, I imagine that they're pretty easy to get. In my head, because it's the thing. It's probably the most iconic British food.
What's that?
I'd say
the crumpet.
The crumpet shit. Yeah.
The crumpet is not hard to get. It's
the strong argument for blood pudding.
No,
blood pudding. Yeah, which I didn't even know.
It's a known thing. But it's not at the level of crumpets, I say.
What about haggis? Where's haggis rank on those?
I don't even know what that's made of.
Scottish.
That's Scottish, definitely, yeah.
Fucking Jordan, get your goddamn
I should probably actually know that, because I'm Scottish.
Why? Is he, a quarter Scottish or something? Or?
Oh, yeah, I'm, it's probably a third Scottish.
Oh, bang on then. Okay, cool, yeah.
In my head, haggis sounds like some weird fish.
What is it? Because I know...
So it is a
black pudding
sheep's
is pig's
stomach.
blood.
Yeah.
Which sounds awful.
It's really nice actually, but I didn't really know that until a few weeks ago when you asked me what that is, and I was like, I don't know, and then I had to Google it. So what is haggis, Jordan?
Haggis is where you take a sheep's stomach and you cut it open, empty it all out, and then you stuff all the entrails and the brains and all the goodies in there, and then you sew it back up. Right, but they do something to put it back together, and then you boil it all, and it just turns into this kind of ball.
That it's really nice. It's just if you don't know what it is going into it, it's fine. It's just absolutely fine. Anyway, the fucking hell. I think we were talking about The Witcher. I'm not sure. Witcher 3.
Witcher 3. Let's talk about it. Kevin, you've been playing a little bit of it. What do you think so far?
Yeah, I've been playing quite a bit of it, actually. I think I have put in 15 hours, maybe.
Jesus Christ.
Sounds about right. 15, 20 hours.
I think we need to sit down, Kevin, because this is out of control.
I think I'm at about 12.
It came out yesterday. Is this what you've been doing? You went to work, you've slept, but basically apart from that, you've been playing this expansion, right?
Take work with a grain of salt, too, because he doesn't really have a job.
No, he totally does.
He's a fake baby job.
I just don't sleep. That's the thing, because I played came out at 5 p.m. on Monday, yeah. So it's been 2 days. So that's where the extra hours are coming from. But I came out at 5. I played until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I had work, which is the same thing that happened with Overwatch last week, is where the game came out and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play it. I play it for an hour and a half, then I go to work for a couple hours, and then I played Witcher until about 4 in the morning, which is... I play games pretty late, usually 1-ish, sometimes 2, but 4 is that's a rarity. I haven't spent that kind of time in a long while.
Yeah.
There's just so much to do, because obviously you're in the new region of Toussant, and you have to say it like a douchebag says croissant. Croissant, eating croissants in Toussant, it's great because obviously the last DLC you were just kind of in similar, like the similar areas. They just kind of slightly expanded it, and there were a couple like different locations in the same areas. But this is a brand new area. It looks gorgeous.
It's amazing.
It's kind of bizarre at times because like you're still like kind of like gruffy, smart ass, kind of killing everything Witcher, and you're kind of in this like fantasy book kind of environment, which is kind of funny to watch. But it's great. It's there's tons and tons of stuff to do, and I'm really, really, really enjoying it. And it's I don't want it to be over, but it's I don't know. That's why I'm trying to do all the side stuff because I just kind of want to push like that. I think they said like 30 to 40 hours. I'm definitely going to try to push that.
Oh, really?
As far as possible. Yeah, I think that's what they said.
Hours, that is crazy.
Maybe 20 to 30.
I can definitely see that. Yeah, from what I'm playing, I'm about, I think probably about the same time Kev is. I haven't checked in a little while, but I'm about halfway through the story because I've been trying to focus a little bit more on that for the purposes of reviewing it. But I've also done, explored some of the side stuff, and it's about 15 hours. So, if I were to explore everything totally, do all the side quests out, I could see it being probably about 30. Yeah, I mean, Hearts of Stone, I spent about 15 on that, and then I still have, like, there was this one quest I never was able to do because it would cost like 10,000 to start, but I'll go back and do that after this for sure. But yeah, CD Projekt has made a name for themselves for packing this game full of just and it's interesting stuff too. It's not like an Ubisoft game where you're spending 10 hours as a story and then the next 30 is just you're going to engage in these repeat things again and again. It is go to this place, here's a quest, here's another quest, and then there's also something interesting happening over there. And it's just, I don't know, it's amazing. It's making me fall in love with this game.
And even if it's not actual quest that you're doing, just the way the towns are populated, there are always things going on, the NPC crowds are just kind of always cool to look at. When I played kind of Witcher 3 last year, I knew it was good, and obviously at our old site we named it a Game of the Year and all that, and it was well deserved because it's fantastic. But that came out in the first half of that year, and then we had all kinds of other open world games come out, and even then I thought that it just really, really doesn't compare because it is doing something really special with The Witcher. And now having that be a memory that's sort of gone into the back of my head, but playing it back and just going in that world again, it's like, holy shit, they are leagues ahead, so many leagues ahead of all these kind of very similar games that I've played in like the 8 months since or 9 months since. It's just ridiculous. They've got all this new content, what kind of seems to be a really cool story, but they've also tweaked the entire game. Does it look better to you guys? I swear I read in the patch notes that they kind of gave it an upgrade on the visual side.
Have you really played at all since last year?
No, I played a few hours of Hearts of Stone, but wanted to wait until now to just play it all in one go, basically. So not for a while now.
I think, because I've played it probably, I don't know, I checked in on it just to be in that world like once every 2 months maybe. So right. I haven't noticed a big difference. Have you, Kev?
No, I think I want to say one of the things, because obviously it's a new area, I'm not sure if they did this for everything, but like if there was like a stack of boxes or whatever, it used to be like multiple textures, which is like why there were like some loading issues and kind of like a lot of like pop-in and some frame rate issues, I think. So I'm not sure if they've applied this like to all the old stuff or it is just in the new kind of area, but now it's like a kind of like a blanket texture over all the same stuff, so... to obviously help with some of the performance. Yeah, it's just been too long since I played to kind of
with
remember.
Me though, like if you, I kind of got a bit of this when I played Hearts of Stone for a bit because there was a huge update for that then as well. But again, I only played it for a little bit. So basically, Evan, if you've just played the base game ages ago and you go back into it, it's like night and day though, because like there are tons of tiny little fixes that they've done with the menu, with kind of Roach, with the way combat works a little bit. If you scroll through all the patch notes, because you can't possibly notice all of it, it's crazy. Like I've never seen this level of support. Apart from it, what was that zombie game, the first person zombie.
Dying Light.
Dying Light. They kind of did a similar job with that as well, in that when they did the expansion, they just did certain things to the entire base game as well, just kind of brought it back up. It's just incredible. Yeah, just to be in that world again in The Witcher was, can't wait to go back. I actually want to stop recording this podcast so I can just get back to it. It's just,
it is.
it's so good.
It's a treat. It's
Podcast
amazing.
canceled.
Yeah. What I wanna bring up to you, Kev, is, and I've seen this mentioned in some other reviews, but like the feeling of kind of this being a send off for CD Projekt Red's Witcher. They mentioned at the kind of nearing the end of development, when Witcher 3 was coming out, that there wouldn't be a Witcher 4. And I think there was some speculation at some point. I didn't really read the articles, but they've said in the last couple months that they have no plans for the series going forward. And I've noticed there's a lot of like, well, first off, I want to say that this DLC has more humor in it than the base game did. Like there's a lot of, it's still Witcher. There's a lot of, darkness, and there's a lot of reality and gravity to the things that are happening. But there's just this levity that encompasses most of the experience. And I think a lot of that can be hard to pull off in a game, because it ranges from just like dynamic conversations that will make me laugh to even like physical comedy, which is, and not to say like slapstick.
It does that a lot. It does actually do that a lot. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like there's this, and Kev, I think you've played through this mission, and not to spoil anything, it's a side quest, but there is a point where Geralt intervenes in a conversation, and a man's having sex with a woman, and and the man thinks that Geralt is the woman's husband, and he finally gets it that Geralt's not not her husband, and he's like, "Oh wait, so you're not?" And Geralt's just like shaking his head in the most dismissive way that is, like, it's not like any other head shaking animation in the game, and it just made me laugh out loud. And I don't know, they really put a lot of work into this, and it shows in everything.
From what I played of Hearts of Stone as well, that was a much funnier than the base game as well. They just, they've had the world in peril storyline, they had the Wild Hunt, they had Ciri in danger, and whatever. And with these expansions, I think they've had more allowance to just let loose a little bit and have some fun, because again, it is the end, and kind of what that entails story-wise, I have no idea yet, but yeah.
I mean, it's them, and they did it in Hearts of Stone as well. It's them doing what they do best, which is playing off of characters. A lot of stuff in Hearts of Stone was Gaunter O'Dim playing off of Geralt, and he was just this very witty, sarcastic personality playing off this kind of gruff, but also sarcastic in his own way personality, and that was really good. A lot of stuff in here. I think there are a lot of compelling characters. I think there's some that are okay, but so far, there's a lot of intrigue going on, and it's doing that thing. Oh god, I forgot where I was going with it, because my mind's just wanting to talk about the next thing with this game, but it does that. Ah, shit, I totally lost it. Anyway, Kev?
Yeah, because I have kind of been doing the opposite of you, because I have the luxury of not having to review it, and I have just been doing all side stuff. I've only done, maybe 3 kind of main story quests, so I'm still pretty early in all that stuff. I just wanted to do enough to get my little house that I can upgrade, and I can do all that stuff. And there's been some great side missions.
Oh yeah,
because I posted on Twitter there's a mission where you sit in a bank. Which is it's just great, and it goes hand in hand with what you guys talked about with there's a lot of levity and tongue in cheek to it that we saw obviously here and there in the original release, but definitely more in Hearts of Stone, and now obviously in this game, because it's definitely a lot lighter, with the region kind of being a much kind of happier and kind of fanciful and kind of festive place. So yeah, I did that. I did that mission where you retrieve a statue's genitals, which is also great.
That's a good one.
Then
It's just
and then I also helped out a bird lady, which was also
that mission was unexpectedly fantastic. Okay, I don't want. Never mind. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I don't want to talk about everything in this, and it is. God, it's so fucking good.
I think the thing with The Witcher is that whatever you decide to do, whether you decide to do other side quests or you go ahead and do the main story, what you know is that everything is going to be done just as well as its other parts. With things like Skyrim or a Fallout, I think there's this popular theory going around that they intentionally make the main story a bit shit so that you feel a bit naughty and justified in going off and doing your own thing. But obviously, with The Witcher, they don't need to do that. Like, you can, you can just go through the main story and do all of the side stuff later, which is what I did playing the base game, and just get as good an experience. And unlike, I'm glad also that I'm not covering the game in terms of the site for a review, because it's just something that I want to take my time with and savor and just sort of enjoy, because we won't be getting a game like this for a very long time. And I know we've got that. I know there's like Horizon maybe looks really cool in terms of this big open world RPG. I don't think anything on my radar right now is going to scratch the same itches that I'm getting like every other moment from The Witcher. And I've barely just started again, but it's really nice. And I think I described it to you, Kev, or to someone, but it's very rare for me to have like a comfortable pair of shoes to just go back into. Normally it's the hot newness. It's the new hotness. Sorry, it's like we got to go onto the new game. We got to go try this new thing, and I very rarely go back and play a game because I don't have the time. So to be given the excuse to go play this expansion is fantastic. And I also have to play the entire base game again because I bought it on disc, and the saves don't carry through when you buy it through the PSN store. So I have to start the whole game again, and I'm actually quite a bit sad that I had to start to download the expansion pack with sort of off-the-shelf Geralt. It wasn't my one that I've crafted hours and hours into. It was just they just kick you into the expansion, with all the equipment that you need to get going, which is fine, but it is a bit of a shame not to have that same, the same world, the same choices that I made, but whatever, it's cool.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, because obviously, like, Fallout 4 kind of left a very sour taste in some of our mouths, and I just kind of, yeah. It's obviously like Jordan, if you enjoy it, that's your prerogative, but just playing back through Witcher, just remembering how good all of the side stuff is, and because obviously Fallout, it's like, here, oh look, a settlement needs help, oh look, here's some ghouls or something, and Witcher is like, there are going from place to place. Yes, there are some like, oh, here's a treasure chest, like kill these monsters, but even with some of those, like, I've noticed more in the DLC that there's been way more like connecting points, like obviously like, you find a key in the chest or you find a note, and I've noticed I don't remember finding nearly as much of those in like the original release or even Hearts of Stone. There's been some like great little notes and kind of like great little pieces of storytelling in some of those events compared to some of the stuff like even like Metal Gear was like, oh yeah, this is really cool that I can take out a base however I want, but otherwise the world is empty. And Witcher I'd forgotten how much I loved Witcher for its ability to make like a hugely interesting world and not just like, oh, here's a cool mission, but that's it. Good luck. Have fun leveling up or something.
And I mean, it's CD Projekt Red. They don't half-ass anything. Like, everything from the side content to the world building is done 110%. I know, and that there's even these amazing little touches that reference the main game, which I didn't even expect. There's, depending on who you choose, and it's just the smallest of touches. Depending on, who you romanced in the main game, either Triss or Yen, there's this moment, it's right at the beginning, it's this, like, random thing that you can't really miss. You get a letter from one of them. And in my case, I got a letter from Triss, and it's addressed to, your love, Triss. And it's like, oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. That is something I did 60 hours ago, or I guess a year ago in this game, coming back to flavor the world. And even later, like, there's this point where, and you did it too, Kevin, where you have to choose what you're going to pledge on at a certain point.
Yeah.
Just for this very minor thing, and you can choose to pledge on your love, and it'll be like, oh, on my lady love, Triss Marigold, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is fucking awesome.
That was one thing I was going to bring up too, because actually my letter was from Yennefer, but when I went to pledge my love,
it was for Triss?
Because I fucked up when I played the original game, and I tried to do both.
Me too.
I lost them both. So when that moment came when you're pledging, I chose love, because the other choices were whatever, but he says, like, I forget exactly what he says, but he doesn't say either of their names. He's like, kind of like, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, that's good.
Or it says like,
because I was a massive
complicated or
jerk
something.
with a
It
horny
did.
penis.
It did mess up one time. There's a conversation that happens where somebody, God, it's so hard not to talk about spoilers. Somebody is recounting to Geralt like what somebody would do for a loved one. And he says to my Geralt, who's like blew off Yen straight off, is like, I'm sure you would do the same thing for Yen. And I was like, no, I wouldn't. But I mean, it messes up sometimes. This RPG is just this infinite series of tubes. Like, I would love to see or I would hate to see the coding that went on to get all of these little tiny touches right. Like, I just did a mission where you're supposed to, it's like a party, and you've done this kind of thing in the main game where you're supposed to go and get something nicer than this bloody, grimy Witcher gear that you got. And so you go and get it, and I didn't even think about it, but I also took off all my weapons because I was walking around checking out the new stuff I just bought. And the character in the cutscene congratulates you on, it was wise for you to hide your weapons. It's just this little tiny flavor text it's an insignificant detail. You don't have to put it in there. But
it's everywhere. There's loads of them, and it starts to add up. Yeah.
It's so good, and there's way more of it. I think they've ironed out a lot of things in this expansion that kind of didn't sit super well with me with the last expansion, especially like enemy encounters or boss fights. I thought that they were fine in the last one. They were memorable, but I thought that there was some cheap stuff in there, especially with there was a fight in a graveyard that I was like, oh, well, this is just bullshit. And the toad fight at the beginning was also unnecessarily hard. But I think that they've, like, a lot of the boss fights and a lot of the battles in here are super interesting and challenging while being very rewarding. Like, they keep you on your toes constantly.
Creatures that I've fought so far, there's been the again, I don't want to spoil it too much, but I've literally only played like a little tiny bit of the game. There's a giant at the start, and the kind of monster that you fight in the tournament arena. Because of course when you see that arena, you're like, I'm gonna get in that at some point. And the monsters in both those instances are really well designed. They look cool as fuck. They get really cool intros. The cutscenes seem to have more a flair to them. I don't know, they're just, the way they're shot, the camera moves around a lot more. It was in those moments where you got this kind of a giant creature and the environmental damage that they're doing as well. That's when I kind of thought, like, they've done something to this game. They've done something, because it didn't seem as good looking when I played the base game, but kind of that could just be a bad memory. But yeah, anyway, all cool stuff, definitely.
Yeah, it's just top to bottom awesome. And also, bringing up another thing I wanted to bring up, sorry if I'm hogging all the time here, was this, like, it kind of has this theme throughout it that I've noticed in a lot of the side quests. Actually, like 3 side quests now, and even in the main quest, it has this theme of a Witcher, like, asking himself if he should kill the beast. And what I mean by that is especially in the arena portion, you're fighting this creature that's been pretty much forced to fight, and it was basically
tortured.
Yeah, it was like a bullfighting scenario, and at the end,
jingle balls on him.
Yeah, exactly, and it broke free, and
a big
shit all happened, and then Witcher at the end, or Geralt is at the end, and you are offered the choice: you kill it or spare it. And it's just this kind of morally gray conundrum. Like, it appears again and again in different ways. I think it's a really
interesting,
like, in very different ways. But I noticed that I'm like, I've kind of done this kind of choice a lot. It's a kind of an obvious choice. It kind of paints Geralt as the hero, but the writing explores it, because, it takes place in so many different ways. It explores it in really interesting ways that I really appreciate.
Yeah, have you done the part with the basilisk yet, or no?
No, that sounds alright.
Because there's a similar thing, like, with the basilisk. Obviously, I won't go into details, but I just did that, and I've started to see that too. Like, because obviously you can choose yes or no, and I chose both just to see what they would say. And there's this group, they're like, a Witcher that doesn't kill monsters, and they make fun of you. Because I wanted to see what they would say. Obviously, I went back and didn't kill it, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting theme with, obviously, because it's like, what? Yeah, I know I'm supposed to kill all the monsters because I'm good, big old gruffy Witcher man, but there's definitely some interesting choices in there.
Yeah.
On that note, just kind of real quick as well, it felt really good to be Geralt again. Like, the more I think about it and the more I've had time to reflect, like, on the surface, he seems quite boring and hasn't got much to offer. But really, he's flexible almost, and he's like the perfect video game character in this type of game. Do you know what I mean? Like, he can be a stoic and gruff when he wants to be, but he can be really cool and badass. But he's got all these kind of different sides to him if you choose to be that. And also a really funny, really funny as well, which you see again and again more and more. So that's cool. Yeah, it's again just kind of really good to be back. Evan, did you have anything else to ask before you go and play it at some point?
Nope. I look forward to fucking getting to it. Like, I think, if I remember correctly, that I finished the main game, and the recommended for Hearts of Stone is like 32, and I'm pretty sure I'm like 32 or 33, so primed to jump like directly into that.
Yeah.
And I mean, and was it Kev who said that this is pretty, or was it Liam who said that this is pretty much a full game? Yeah, that's no joke. Like, this is, CD Projekt Red has, like, again, put other devs to just absolute shame with not just the amount of content that they have here, because saying there's a lot of content here is one thing, but then following through with it being new and fresh and interesting, it's amazing.
When a studio or trailer or anything says, "Oh, we got loads of content," I actually am turned off by that. I'm like, I don't really care. I don't want more content. I want good stuff that I'm going to enjoy doing again and again and again. That's why a lot of these open world games don't speak to me. I didn't like a Fallout 4 for much of that same reason. You know, you kind of saw interesting stuff along the way, for sure, whatever, but the actual things that you're doing weren't that interesting. But that isn't even a good example. It's all the Ubisoft games, all their open worlds. I've never enjoyed. They don't ever seem like real places to me. They are very artificial in their design. They tell you by putting all of these icons on the map and all these things to do, all this stuff to just get on with and check off the list. It also tells you what's not important about that world, and it just makes it all seem really kind of boring and plain. So yeah, I mean, to have a game that is the biggest of this type that I've ever seen, really, but that I still want to play to death and enjoy, that kind of says a lot to me, I think. So
yeah, it's great. Still, like, weirdly relevant in a good way as well, that this has come out, and it's huge and really colorful and awesome and super dope, and
it is so beautiful. Just like, and just everything they did to make Toussant feel different, even down to the music. And if you read any of like the developer interviews, they were very inspired by like Spain and Italy and a lot of the very Mediterranean countries.
sure, yeah.
And it even, there's like even accordion if you listen to the music. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's awesome.
So I think we're all running out of ways to say it's good.
Yeah.
But
I did want to plug real quick. I did review Fallout 4's last DLC, Far Harbor.
Thank you. I was going to say, as a counterpoint to that, this is another expansion pack to another open world RPG. What did you think of that, Jordan?
Well, so I have some thoughts about that. The most like I can't help but compare them, and reviewing them. I did review them separately. I'm not playing them together, but it's just like that is a $25 expansion. If you did not get the season pass deal like I did, and it took roughly 15 hours, and there's stuff to go back to, and I do plan on going back to it. I think that is hands down not only one of the best DLCs for Fallout, I think it's one of the best parts of that game, because it really plays off of one of the things I think Fallout 4 did well was having interesting groups that all had different objectives. But the objectives of those groups were, it was very, like, morally black and white. It was like, oh, the Brotherhood, those guys are bad. The Railroad, those guys are probably good. The Institute, those guys are probably bad. But here you have the residents of Far Harbor and not the Institute, Acadia, which is a, like, refuge for synths, and then the Children of Adam. And it's not necessarily good and bad, it's everyone has their own objective. Far Harbor people just want to survive. The Children of Adam want to take over the island, and the Synths of Acadia just want everybody to chill the hell out. And the way the story plays out, especially if you bring Nick Valentine along, is some of the best story content there, hands down, and even some of the best side story content. There's a really interesting side quest having to do with a robot murder mystery with robots that are hundreds of years old. And better gear. I think I also really dig because it's similar to Toussant, what CD Projekt Red did. They really just switched the palette around. Well, they did more than that. They entirely changed the environment. Whereas, the Commonwealth was a wasteland, very arid and dry. Far Harbor is more of a wilderness. Like it's very...
That's good. What was the Fallout 3 one that I really liked? The Point Lookout, where it was in some swamps. That was the best move that game did, but just going to somewhere that wasn't the wasteland. I think you still need the wasteland as a touchstone, but the contrast was fantastic.
And it does work well, and they really kind of sell the whole, because, I mean, some enemies have just been replaced, like the raiders have just been replaced with, like, trappers, who instead of wearing, junk and metal, they wear fur and weird crustacean parts, but they also there was a crap ton of, like, surprisingly new enemies, and I think some of them are scary, in a way. I think there's a salamander monster called a Gulper that I find really Silent Hillish, in a way, and there's also, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but there's been some enemies that, one of the best things about Fallout is, like, its dynamic encounters coming across a thing, and there are some enemies in there that I came across and I was just like, oh shit, oh fuck, I fucked this up so bad. Yeah, and there's a lot of really interesting stuff in that expansion. I hope whatever their next expansion is that they haven't announced yet, I hope it goes in a similar direction.
Yeah, I was going to ask, so this is the first big one. I know they had the Automatron thing as well, which was, like, pretty minor, although I hear that it has some cool details to it. This is the first one. They are going to make a second big expansion then, right?
We're presuming. We can actually probably wait for this because we can probably do E3 predictions next week. But I'm guessing that they're going to talk about it at the E3 at Bethesda's E3 conferences here because they changed the price of their. If you remember the season pass thing, they changed the price of it from $30 to $50. And if you add up what they have there, Far Harbor is $25 on its own, Automatron is $10 on its own, and Wasteland Workshop is $5. So it's 30, it's 40. So there's 10 there, and it could either be something big. It could be two small things, or it could be something in the middle. Like, it could be a smaller new area, or there was a leak on Reddit about something like a Nuka-Cola themed fun park, like Nuka World or something, which I think sounds interesting. I really love the world of Fallout. I totally understand all the problems everybody has with it. I think that this is some of the best stuff they've put out for that game. Its story has a focus to it that the original did not, with all the bullshit, go find your baby nonsense. Oh, God. And I'm trying to platinum that game just because I really do like it. I like the world. Whatever. And I keep, like, trudging along just a little bit in the story every now and again, in between, like, 20 hours of building on this establishment. And goddamn, just, like, I reached a big plot. Well, can we talk about spoilers for Fallout?
Yeah, fuck it, go for it, yeah.
Okay. Spoilers for the end, or for the story of Fallout 4. I got to the plot twist where Sean turns out to be the leader of the Institute.
Yeah, that's where I stopped playing, yes.
And I was just like, are you fucking joking me? Are you kidding? Although, Far Harbor, and they didn't pay off on this, which I'm kind of sad about, they bring to light a question of, what if you're a synth? And I thought, like, if they, like, retcon the entire story of the main game with, like, you were a synth with those memories placed in your head and the Institute has been playing you all along, I was like, that's pretty fucking good. That'd be alright. They don't do that, but they should have. Yeah, the main quest of Fallout 4 is dissatisfying, but I think, I don't know, the problem with Fallout is it's not, especially in comparison to Witcher, it's not as morally gray in its choice making, if that makes sense. Like, it offers these very, are you going to shoot the homeless person, or are you going to give him something to eat?
Yes.
Are you going to drown the kittens, or are you going to adopt one and put a flower in its hair? Like, it's...
Yeah. With, like, say, The Witcher, even if you think you're making a good choice, very often it will have unforeseen consequences that are actually quite bad, and vice versa. Like, you don't really know where you stand. Even if you are playing as a morally good person, then it doesn't really mean jack shit in the story sometimes. It can change it up a little bit, but yeah, with Fallout for sure.
I think what Far Harbor does best is that it does have some moral quandaries to it with how are you going to resolve the differences between these three groups. And for, like, most of the time in an RPG, I'll go with the either passive or let shit go on its own. And I ended up, without spoiling anything again, I ended up doing some shit in Far Harbor that I'm like, I kind of feel bad about this, because I think the characters are also pretty well fleshed out and really well done. And I'm like, I feel bad about doing this, but I'm pretty sure that this is the only way to stop these people from blowing up this nuke, or these people from killing these people, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And I don't know, it succeeds on those grounds. It still has fucking massive performance issues, nowhere near like because when it came out, people were like, oh shit, did you hear about that Fallout DLC that's unplayable? It's not unplayable. It does have a lot of performance issues. Also better looking than the main game, I think. It has a lot of really cool environmental effects. And not that should, redeem itself from the performance issues, but there are a lot of times I don't know. Never in the base game of Fallout 4 was I, like in the same way of Witcher, where I look over like a mountain or I'm on the edge of something, I just look out for like 10 seconds and I'm just like, holy fuck. Fallout kind of had that sometimes. You know, it'd be like a foggy swamp at midnight and there'd be moonbeams coming through the trees and like it was just this ambient, like it all came together in a cohesive way. What I'm trying to say is Far Harbor's pretty okay.
Is anyone else going to try it out? Because I've traded in my copy long ago. I don't think I'll be going back to Fallout 4 myself. Never.
I mean,
okay.
Maybe one day.
No.
I don't know. It depends like what the other DLC they release and kind of like it's inevitable, but they'll do like the Ultimate Edition or whatnot. Yeah. Like that's just what Bethesda does.
And I mean, at some point that'll be on sale for $20. So if this isn't your thing, or if you like, just get it at some point down the road. It'll be there waiting.
I'll probably give the DLC and all that stuff a shot at some point when I'm it's next year.
It should be now in theory because we don't have too many games to play, but it won't.
No,
be,
that's
right?
I was gonna say like, exactly like this time next year when we're in this same kind of drought and all the DLC is out and there's kind of like a final verdict on Fallout 4 as a complete product. Maybe then, maybe not though.
Maybe. I played 45 hours or so, and I think that's enough to just say, nope, I'm good. And then, and that breaks my heart. When I did the review for our old site, that was quite a hard one to write, because it was basically me saying, me and Fallout, we're not an item anymore. I love Fallout. I love it to death. I love 3. I love 1 and 2 as well. Like, I'm a huge nerd for Fallout. And I don't know what it was, just maybe at that point in my life, or that my taste in games and the kind of thing that I was after, it was just like, this isn't doing it for me anymore, and it hurt. But I've moved on. I've made a clean break, and I got trading money for it, so it's all good.
Yeah. I'm about I'm like 100 hours in, and when I'm done with Witcher DLC, I'm probably gonna go back to Far Harbor for a bit because I don't know, I really liked it, and it was it's not going to change anybody's mind at all ever. But if you already like Fallout, this will be exactly what you're looking for.
No, yeah, it was. I mean, Fallout 4 was definitely kind of sad for me too, where it was. I liked 3 a lot. I thought the whole DLC pack of all those DLCs in 3 was like fantastic. Some of the best DLC that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I didn't like New Vegas as much for whatever reason. It just kind of felt just samey but different in a weird way, and I just wasn't a big fan. I never finished it, and so I was like, Fallout 4 was kind of like the make or break. Like, all right, am I a Fallout fan or do I not care anymore? Like, what do I even feel about this stuff? And then I put like 30-ish hours and I was like, I'm not even having fun with this game, and I just stopped playing it. And that was probably the end of Fallout for me. Like, if whenever Fallout something blah 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 Resurrection comes out or Fallout 5 comes out, maybe we'll see where we're at. But as of right now, it's like I really just don't care anymore.
It's less to do with are you a Fallout fan, which I think I'll always be. It's are you a fan of Bethesda and like what they're doing and like the actual studio, not the publisher. I don't jive anymore, or I know the tricks of their open world RPGs, and when I played Oblivion, that blew my mind. When I played Skyrim, not quite as much, because it was very similar, but just a very polished version of it, and I didn't even finish Skyrim. When I played Fallout 3 again, like, it was one of my favourite games of the last generation, just like hands down. I loved it to pieces. And Fallout 4 is basically, in many ways, a much better version of that game. It does all its mechanics just slightly better. It looks better, certainly. It is a better game, but I've moved on taste-wise, and it's just getting a bit samey. Especially when you can't compare any game, I think, to The Witcher, because I think, like I said before, it does it leagues ahead. But just again, I'm kind of forgetting that a zombie game or like any other open world game that runs and plays and looks great, Fallout 4 wasn't really any of that, which is a shame.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, and I guess the only difference is that Elder Scrolls never really been my thing. I loved Fallout 3, but I wanted just slightly better shooting. I wanted a slightly brighter world. And Fallout 4, like...
And you got it, yeah.
Yes, and it was like the culmination of all the hundreds of hours that people have spent playing Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim. Like, I never had that. So when people are like, I've already played this game, I haven't. So I guess that's the redeeming thing for Fallout 4 for me.
Yeah, I have a theory that you've got a Bethesda game in you, kind of maybe 2, because I see it often like, oh, I really super enjoyed this one game that I played years ago, because at the time there isn't anything else like it. I mean, back in 2000, shit, when was Fallout 3 out? Was it 2004, 5?
Oh god, no! It was like 2000.
What? That's like 8.
8? Yeah, I want to say
that
8.
was it. Yeah, 8, of course. Yeah,
the PS3 and the Xbox and the Xbox 360 weren't even out.
No, it was 2007. It was 2007 because it came out the same month as Modern Warfare.
Yeah, and I played Gears of War in the same year as well.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, it was a good year. But in that year, it was nothing. There was no other game like it that gave you the choice and the breadth, and you just explore this entire. There's nothing else like it, and of course now it's dime a dozen really. So it's got to change its engine. I think it's got to play better, look better. Even though I don't really care about looks too much, it's hard to ignore sometimes how dated it looks.
It's really like. Just damn. Like even though some of the environmental effects look nice, just going from playing, because I've been playing a lot of Doom and Overwatch on the side as well, which I plan to go
that's not
hella back to. No. Oh yeah, and in between Witcher, Doom, and Overwatch, it's just god damn, just damn it all.
And there's no excuse because Fallout 4 it's one of the biggest games that came out last year, and it was in development for so long. Perhaps that's why that's an issue. But then with Doom, that was also that was being made for much longer and still managed to look pretty cutting edge. I know it's different, obviously. One is extremely focused and tight and linear, and it's a shooter first and foremost, and the other is open world. But damn, again. It's just they have to change it up somehow. I don't know what it is, but at the moment, I'm not interested in their games again, especially until someone turns around and says they have done it. They've realized their mistakes and whatever.
Yeah. Though speaking of Fallout, I did have a moment in The Witcher where it glitched briefly and it put the camera right in Geralt's chest. For whatever reason, I backed up wrong against a wall, and I was just walking around like that, and it was essentially
basically.
Oh yeah, it was basically first person. And let me tell you something.
How was that then?
It was fucking awesome. Because it wasn't out in the wilderness, it was right by a town, and I was just walking through, and people were going about their life, and the camera reset itself, and I was like, fuck, damn it. I wanted to play the entire game like that, because I took out the sword, and it didn't quite work right, but it was I could play it like that for 100 hours.
Imagine what it would be like
if
you did have a first-person view.
Yeah, I think Witcher with first-person would work pretty well. That's my dream game.
And with Fallout 4, I feel like it also came out at a bad time. We had seen The Witcher in the earlier months of the year, and as far as I'm concerned, that is probably one of the best RPGs ever made.
Oh yeah,
in a fantastic way.
I would say even to an extent Metal Gear. Which I think redefined for a lot of people what an open world game could be in a much different way, but just for Fallout.
Oh, no, totally. It's a sandbox. You do whatever the fuck you like with it. Obviously, it had other flaws and issues, but that still kind of stands out as being just the most coolest tool set that I've really been given in this big world. Obviously, again, that world isn't too interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a rough time for the other big open world thing to come out, and it just wasn't innovating in the way that the other two were.
Yeah, I think they I don't know if it was that they were overconfident in their brand or something with two huge, pretty awesome open world games with The Witcher and Metal Gear, which I liked Metal Gear. It's a really fun game. It didn't have a lot in the story, substance side, I'd say, for the most part, which is kind of disappointing because I really liked how the old ones used to play. But it was just, a super fun game where it was I just fuck around for, 6 hours doing, routine garbage and had a great time.
Oh, complete garbage, yeah.
And just doing the most innocuous shit. Just I need to pick that flower over there now.
Yeah, and it's hey, one of our guys for the 47th time has been taken captive. Go get him.
Oh, yeah.
And you're I gotta get him. I need to save my guys. And it's he literally means nothing. You can get 45 dudes on the way there that are better, but you're I'm getting him. And then you go
I think that game had 3 objectives, and that's it. And you just did them over and over again in slightly different orders. And that's fine, because, again, it was really fun to go about just... If you had imagination, you went about it creatively, not just shooting stuff all the time, then yeah, it's incredible.
Metal Gear was a game, and I don't do this often anymore, just because for whatever reason I've lost this kind of urge to experiment with everything like I did when I was a kid. I just have vivid memories of just fucking around for hours on end, not fighting anybody, but in Mercenaries 2 in middle school, just can I put C4 on this and then drive it into here? Can I mess with this? And Metal Gear was the first game in years where I just set up 6 of those inflatable dummies right next to each other and then walk right through them so they all bump into each other over and over and over. Like it's such a fun game to just fuck around in.
And you could do that though. Like the game supported that, and often you would try something. It's like that's not going to work. That's not going to work. That's ridiculous. And then you would have this unexpected kind of thing happen, and then it's just
Yeah.
No.
And so with those 2 games that were fantastic in their own ways, and then having Fallout. Fallout came after Metal Gear, right? Metal Gear was like October or some shit.
Yeah, it came
or
after.
September.
September 1st.
Anyways, yeah, so those had come out prior to Fallout, and I feel like if Fallout had come out either before or much after, like if it was coming out, say, now-ish or something, like kind of after the crazy train of these 2 games that were both like Game of the Year contenders had come out, then it might have not been so disappointing to see like the same old boring shit return when, the Witcher 3 from Witcher 2 to Witcher 3 is like the most insane change I've ever seen between
I would even say like
sequels.
Witcher 1 to Witcher 2, like having played all of those games recently, holy fuck.
Oh yeah, Jordan, you've been playing the first one even more now, because I know you talked about it before in an earlier episode that you just started it or whatever. But
just a little bit. I'm literally a half hour from where I started the game.
Oh right, okay.
But I want to finish this, and then I really want to play Witcher 1 and 2, not necessarily in order. Just I want to complete them before I go back and play through all of Witcher 3 again, because I really want to see like the Triss romance through from the beginning to the end.
2 is quite incredible.
Yeah, 2 is where they were really getting it down, but 1 is just so...
A lot of people, for very obvious reasons, haven't played the first 2, and that's why I think earlier Kevin might have said something about kind of whether they're going to make a Witcher 4. Is that going to be a thing that they're going to be really kind of wanting to? Because they've been doing these games for years and years and years. It's a huge part of their studio. I would imagine that they want to do something else, fresh and new. But having said that, A Witcher 3 was a lot of people's first experience with this series, and then it, for them, came out of nowhere. They were like, what the fuck is this? When kind of really, it's been a series that has been around for a while. Sure, it's changed, and it hasn't always been an open world, and it hasn't been this, and it hasn't been that. But to most people, it just came out of the blue, and they want a sequel. They expect something new. But, I don't know whether we'll even get that.
My absolute dream at this point isn't really Witcher 4 so much as I want to see them take the storyline of the first 2 games and just put it in the engine and the combat of Witcher 3.
That would be good enough. I mean, that's never going to happen, of course.
That'd be insane.
Yeah.
At least with 2. That's a little bit more. That's not. No, that.
Oh yeah, 1 would you need to remake that game because it's absolutely crazy.
A waste of resources, but totally. Just to have people see those first 2 games, they're not a perfect or anything.
I still think 2 is still one of my favorite RPGs.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's amazing. Yeah.
I think 2 is actually kind of maybe a stronger actual RPG than 3. 3 has actually got quite a few issues that I have with it in terms of how it works as an RPG. It's amazing in every other respect, so it doesn't really matter. But 2 something special as well, and I think I mentioned before that some of the choices that you make kind of really, really change up the storyline, and
And the most insane, like if you want a Game of Thrones game, with all you dumb nerds out there that like that show, play The Witcher 2, because that's probably the closest thing you're gonna get.
Oh, totally, yeah, absolutely.
It's like straight up like an insane, political, weird game that I still really, really like. And it's backwards compatible on Xbox One and shit. I think they gave it away for like free for a while.
I think they did.
Go play it. Like, so it's really good. Like, if you really like The Witcher 3, obviously it's going to be kind of a weird step back in a lot of the ways the game plays, but it's still super.
With Cyberpunk, what they're going to do next, what type of game is that?
Oh, it's a RPG.
We played Cyberpunk in a weird way in the last site.
Well, kind of, yeah. But is it like
it's like Deus Ex
a third person
and The Witcher
sort of thing, or is it a first person?
I have no idea.
I believe it's going to be a third person open world RPG.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I would really love to see. I don't know. I kind of iterative, although as we mentioned before, in a better way than Bethesda does it. I would like to see iterative design, like back and forth between Cyberpunk and Witcher. If they end up making a Witcher 4, I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I know.
I'm hyped through the roof. Also, please, CD Projekt Red, if you can hear this, put a Witcher Easter egg, like put Ciri in a side quest or something.
Oh my god, yes.
Because there's that one
that has
line.
To happen, right?
Absolutely.
That kind of deserves to happen at this point.
There's that one line that Ciri has when Geralt spoilers for Witcher 3, you complete your objective that you're working towards the entire game. You meet up with Geralt, or Ciri meets up with Geralt finally, and she's like recounting her adventures, and she talks about, it's totally cyberpunk. She talks about a world with like people with metal in them and carriages that fly through the sky.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh fuck, that would be, oh man, there's gonna be a Ciri side quest. That'd be the best. That'll be the best.
There's a theory right now that I just came up with that she's actually the main character of Cyberpunk, whatever the 2077, because she does have these world crazy things. And then it's just that is The Witcher 4, but also a new game.
That'd be super sneaky, yeah.
I'd actually be super on board with that. Like, with the way my game ended, especially, I really enjoyed kind of how all the stories wrapped up nicely in a really satisfying way, which I think is pretty astounding.
I actually
70-hour
never
RPG.
heard what you guys, like, I never got your guys' read on the ending. Are we allowed to spoil the ending of a year-old game?
We never talked about it. I don't think.
I thought we did talk about it.
I'm not sure.
In the chat here and there.
In the chat. It was more the
chat.
chat. We didn't do it on a podcast, no. It was a game that, for once in my fucking life, ended really well. Really, really well. I mean, I know it can change from person to person in terms of what ending they got. Kind of some maybe kind of better than others. I don't know. But the one I had was fantastic, and it was a perfect cap to this crazy adventure for sure.
I felt the same way. My ending, as far as like his story goes, I ended up alone and just continued witching. Yeah,
it was awesome.
I think me and Kev got the same ending.
What I had too.
What ended up happening with like Ciri and Yen and Triss with your guys's?
Yeah, so mine, obviously, I fucked up in neither of them. I was with neither of them at the end, and Ciri became Empress. So.
Oh, no shit.
Oh, you
right,
fucked it
okay.
up, Kev. That's not
Oh,
good.
yeah,
that's
you-
the
you-
best ending, though.
No,
That's
it's not.
That's
totally
quote
not,
unquote
no.
the best ending.
Totally disagree in every way.
Okay, what ending did you guys get?
Did Liam and I, did we get the same one?
I think it was the same one. So they're in a bar together.
Yep.
Ciri and Geralt, and
he brings her the sword.
Yeah, and
Yep.
they are, and they're obviously going to go off and be
Witchers
teams.
Yeah.
That's the best
ending.
Ciri
cool.
was born to do, though. She was born to lead.
Yeah, but that's not what she
the
wanted
thing,
to
you're gonna
do.
Fight the power, and that shit sucked. She never wanted to do that. That'd be like weird in servitude for her.
Yeah, but no, you guys should watch that ending. Like, I swear to God, it's like considered the best ending because she becomes Empress.
Well, I
it's
mean-
super sad. It's like
By who is that? 'Cause they're
the
gonna-
internet. By the internet.
Well,
the internet
they're
decided
wrong.
that
Oh, yeah.
that's-
All right, I'm sorry. It is
The
it
world's
is the best
foremost.
ending if you want her to be unhappy and unfulfilled.
Exactly, yeah.
And whatever.
I kind of want, and I'm not going to do this because I can't take the emotional stress. I kind of really want to like fuck everything up.
No.
Like I want to see if I can just like everybody dies. The world is fucked. Everything's dead.
I couldn't handle it.
With
Yeah, no,
the
I couldn't do
Geralts,
it.
Though, like, what if? Because I find it really hard to be a real cunt. To be honest, like I
Yep.
have to be nice. I have to be like not nice, but I know I don't know. It's be
A genuine person.
yeah, a genuine person and sort of speak to what I would like him to do or what I would do maybe in the I can't do any of this stuff, but I don't want to treat the world and treat the characters that it paints in an awful way. So totally, I have to play this game again because my save's completely gone. I might go back and do what Jordan said, yeah, totally, and just sort of see what happens if you just be a bastard. I don't know.
But it also, like, I think those choices work really well in blank slate games, like Fallout for the most part, where it's like, you're just a husk and this is you. Like, you're kind of without some sort of goal and shit for the most part. It's like everything is just kind of what you put into that character, whereas Geralt, to me, is a pre-established character with motivations in a way, where, like, having him just be like, yeah, now I came into the village and I fucking killed everybody, raped them, set it on
It's
fire,
not
and
the same.
fucking walked into the sunset. It's like, no, that's not Geralt.
It's
He
like the
doesn't
stuff
seem
of
that way to me.
Siri at the end, where some of my favorite stuff in it, and I think it's because I'm a dad myself. In that you've got to teach her the ropes or show a Siri what kind of man you are and what kind of like quasi a dad you are, and that was really nice. They had some really nice interactions, or not if you were a dick, I guess.
Yeah.
But I did want to show her the best that she and I could be in a weird way.
Yeah, you want best for Frank, who you're gonna make into a Witcher, obviously.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is the first choice, and like Kevin, you're insane if you think that's the.
Oh
best
yeah, it's
ending.
awful.
No. It's the best. It's super sad, depressing too, because like there's a scene where they're
still not selling.
I don't. You should watch it. No, it's
I think I will.
I know, right? It would be best for the kingdom, right? Because she's in charge.
Exactly.
And,
But who gives a shit though? Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care.
if you care about the fate of the world, that's what.
Did you guys end up killing that one bald bastard? The real like psychopath king.
Radovid, I think.
Psychopath King.
Oh, what was his name?
Was that his name?
Radovid, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was in the second game too. He was crazy that good.
Can't remember.
Was he the one always on the ship?
Yeah.
That you had to go to?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did I?
Oh, that's right.
Because I was like part of a conspiracy, and we like trapped him in an alleyway and gutted him.
Oh, I think there is the quest where the gang guy, the chubby guy, fat guy.
And did you end up killing him too?
Gee, that is lost to me. I don't think so.
Because he turned out. Oh god, I think he turned out to be like a racist or something. Like, and
after he was a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, and after you kill Radovid, there's like a feast, and he's like, oh, by the way, we're like gonna. Oh, what? I don't even remember what it was, but he's like, we're gonna fuck over all the dwarves and trolls, and I was like, wait, no,
that
what?
happened to me. That rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
bastard.
yeah, I'm just gonna kill you now, and no harm done.
I never remember what happened now. I was doing that quest, and I was kind of like, I don't know where this is gonna go, but it sounds interesting, so I'm gonna follow it. Because Radovid was also kind of a piece of shit too.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's a lot of dickhead dudes in this game. That's just kind of how it is. But before I could finish, I progressed too far and the quest failed. So.
Oh no.
Which I mean, I guess is kind of a better way, unless you enjoy racist dudes and stuff like that. Putting those dudes in power was probably no better than whatever was happening previously.
Well, I mean, if you end up killing both Radovid and Dijkstra, I think his name was.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Dijkstra.
Then like the bald monocle tall guy and I think the elf end up in power, and they're all right.
There's like the three people that are having like plotting the kill or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm excited now to play it again because a lot of this doesn't ring it doesn't ring too many bells. Like it rings just enough. Like I kind of know what you're talking about. Not it isn't to say that the game I can't kind of remember its story, that it didn't have any impact on me, but the actual plot itself I don't remember too well. It's more like what I did with certain characters or kind of things like the Baron, which I know everyone likes to go on about as being like a landmark thing. It's
amazing. I kind of don't think it's the best part of that game.
Oh, no, for sure, but it was the first moment where I was like, oh, okay, because kind of before I was like, this game is really cool, and that's when it got me, and then afterwards, for sure, there was a ton of much better moments, yeah.
Some people kind of go on about the Baron like, oh, well, once you've seen the Baron, you can just stop playing, and I'm just like...
which is totally not true, but again, it is the moment that I'm like, oh, this game is trying for something a bit different, and I'm not just... It's like, oh, it actually has heart and soul to it, and can be really horrible as well at the same time, but afterwards, like, if anything, it got more hopeful, it got more touching, and it was good.
Yeah. PSA, if somebody told you that that's where you can stop playing, they're so fucking wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a 3-act game, and the middle part gets a little washy when it just kind of still feels really skewed out, and there's lots of shit going on, but at the same time, nothing's happening. Like, you just keep going from like A to B, being like, oh, right, now here, gotta go to the next one.
There's a certain what's the city called that you have to visit? The first big city that you have to go
Novigrad?
to. Novigrad, and you have to find your friend, who again I can't remember his name. Dandelion, thank you. And you have to speak to so many fucking people to get to him.
The Dandelion, that's like, for a lot of people, that's like kind of the worst part.
Easily the worst part. I kind of saw that and was like, what was happening? But but then you have a quest like The Play, which was fucking great.
Yeah.
So it kind
that was a good one.
Makes up for it. But yeah, it got stuck in a mire a little bit there, for sure.
But then once you get to Skellige...
all the shit with the throne and all the political intrigue. So fucking good.
Also, really important to do that stuff if you want some people to make it out of the kind of second, or like the first weird ending of like... It's a game that has... The entire reason is that Geralt needs to find Ciri, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, just like in the second game where you get wrapped up in the constant goings-ons of all these political parties and these groups, and everybody's fighting and nobody's happy. And there's kind of the ending to that story of, who wants to be alive and be in power and stuff. But then there's the kind of third act that's all about the actual, like, personal Geralt, Ciri, dad, daughter, Witcher stuff, which is fantastic. And so the game does feel like it has two endings.
And it works, though. There's when you're at Kaer Morhen, I think, and you've got the whole gang,
Which felt like it felt like the ending, and it's like, no, you still got like 15 hours left.
It did.
Like, oh.
But what I mean is that it spent so many hours up until that point establishing everyone that when everyone or your gang was together, it felt like, oh, yeah, this is my crew, and you liked all of these characters that they had in there. It was just really
and even like the two Witchers that just show up, and you're like, I don't know these people, and then you're like, I know these people, and it's like, this is fun.
It's great because I love that moment because it's a lot of it hinges upon who you've encountered in your game. Like, oh god, who's the bald Witcher from Witcher 2?
I don't know.
The guy, the assassin,
Letho.
Yep.
You can add there's a point in the game at the beginning where you can say that you killed him and he's not in your game. Like, then you can't have, like, it's just this thread that you can follow back, all the way back to the part where, like, the king's advisor is interviewing you and it's, like, going over choices you made in Witcher 2. And if you say, like, oh, well, Letho and me, I killed him, or I let the Scoia'tael leader live instead of the other dude. And
no, don't kill him.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely don't kill him because Letho's dope. He's so cool.
It's a cool little story, too.
Oh, yeah, and, like, especially when you meet up with him. But, like, those two things can have repercussions all the way through to almost the end of the damn game, which is just awesome.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a short game where you're like, I put my choices in, blah, 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 8 hours, and it's gone. It's like, no, it can probably take you like 100 hours if you want to do a lot of stuff. And then it somehow ends, and you are satisfied. And at least for me, in like every way, where if this was the last Witcher game, I'd be like, fuck yeah, that was like an amazing send-off. Great game, probably one of the best games ever made.
Yeah. I do want, Liam, let me know when you get to this point, and again, spoilers, I mean, we've been spoiling the hell out of it, but there's a point where Ciri gets helped out by this kind of homely barn hand.
Oh yeah,
sorry,
that's a good one.
In Witcher 3?
Yeah, and like, there's a choice that Ciri makes where, God, it's like she gives him a kiss, or like she infers that she likes him or something.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then I want to know what happens if you don't do that, because there was an option to not do that, and I wonder if, because later in the game I did that, and so there was like almost this romantic thing going on, but he died, and later in the game I came, like, Ciri wanted to go back to his grave and was crying.
Oh my god, yes, I remember that.
So I wonder.
This is why I want to, when I play it again, because again, I have no save now.
Yep.
I really want to do it anyway. I do want to play it differently, because I keep hearing that this is one of the most choice-based games ever, and you can shape this world how you see it, and you know, it is really impactful. And you don't really know that when you play it the first time around. I mean, yes, you do, but you can only know it, you know, within the context of what you played, and you know, from when you on a show like this, maybe where you share what happened, but everyone here kind of got a similar type thing happen to them, so yeah, for sure, it'd be interesting to see the differences.
There's a lot going on in that game.
Yeah.
It's real good, though.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I'm totally gonna, like, top to bottom replay it one day.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna fire up that first DLC and see what it's all about right now.
Also, read the books.
Oh yeah, the
Jordan,
books are amazing.
You've read them as well. They're real good. They're really, really good. I read the first one
into a bit of a rabbit hole when the game released last year, so I was like, man, this is the best. And now it's like legitimately one of my favorite properties ever. Whatever you do, don't watch the Polish TV show.
No, please do. It's so hilariously bad. It's amazing.
It's real. It does make me really want, like, and the great thing about The Witcher is I think it's unique in the way that it tells its lore. Like, the problem I have with like Elder Scrolls is that Elder Scrolls takes liberally from Tolkien.
Boring as fuck. Definitely.
Yeah, and I think that like Witcher could stand on its own, even in a market with Game of Thrones, as a like high production TV show, because I think it is so unique and different.
Also, a weird report that I've seen right now. Apparently, as far as Kotaku is confirmed, 25 minutes ago, but a few days ago now, since this is not the live show I said it was, I know I lied, that Jake Gyllenhaal is to star in the Division movie.
Oh,
that is a weird piece of news, and also a
that
terrible
boy never
idea.
learns. When you were last in a game,
in a video game movie.
Hey, Prince of Persia, that movie sucked.
I mean, it was...
As far as video game movies go, it was alright.
It was okay, yeah, like, it's watchable.
Yeah, totally. It really wasn't... I think I saw it in the cinema. I saw it and enjoyed it and then instantly forgot about it.
I had no idea what that was.
I almost feel like Division would make a better movie than the story in the game. Like you obviously look at The Division, and Division's story is lackluster at best.
Like, I feel like it's a story we've seen 1,000 other
trillion
times
times.
in other mediums. Like in a game, even in a game, it's a bit like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But whatever. I literally don't care about that at all.
I
But
don't know.
that's
I think it
interesting.
could make an interesting blockbuster. I think Jake Gyllenhaal has, he doesn't really do bad movies. And he's signed on for producer as well. So,
Oh, that's interesting.
which means, he's probably seen the script. He probably agrees with it.
At some point, we've got to talk about not probably now, I know we're just about to wrap up, but, the trailer for the Assassin's Creed movie
Oh,
came
yeah.
out a few weeks ago as well. That was pretty alright.
We can actually probably talk, because, I don't know, I also want to talk at some point about Warcraft and the state of video game movies. God.
Next week. Because we don't have many games to actually talk about on this show about
we can
games.
do probably...
Maybe we can shelve that.
Yeah.
Put a pin in it.
one of these upcoming weeks. So next week will be Mirror's Edge, maybe.
E3
if
predictions,
anyone else
perhaps?
plays.
E3 for predictions
Maybe.
for sure, because I got some beef to squash.
Alright, cool.
Dope. Let's get out of here.
Absolutely, I gotta go play some Witcher.
Yep. So basically, if you're not playing The Witcher, what's wrong with you?
Sort it out, mate.
Sort it out, mate.
And I'm also about to sneeze, so the show's over. Goodbye.
Oh, you didn't end it with an achoo?